Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. My name is Hannah, and on this channel we talk all things home decor, home aesthetics, mixing high and low with new old. And in today's video, we are talking about ways to create a cozy home and tips and tricks on how to achieve that. So if this is something you are interested in watching, just keep on. All right, so before we get into today's video, I just want to put something out there. I did talk about this on my Instagram page, but you guys will start to notice that my appearance is going to kind of be different. And that is because I am slowly removing my false lash extensions. I've had them for close to a decade, and I'm honestly to a point where I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the money and I'm tired of the time that I spend to have them on. So I'm letting these naturally fall out. I'm going to embrace my real lash and just have more of a natural appearance. And so this is hard for me because it has been a security blanket. It has been something that has made me feel really good. And being in front of the camera, I am dissected more times than not about my looks, about my tattoos. And so I'm putting myself out there, letting you guys, I'm going through this and these are growing pains for me, but you guys will probably kind of see that transition of having, you know, full lush lashes to all of a sudden she looks like a naked mole rat. So I just want to put that out there, but let's get into today's video. I'm super excited to share how I've created a cozy space and give you guys tips and tricks on what I have implemented in my home on ways to achieve that. So I'm gonna break it up into different categories, giving you guys plenty of B-rolls throughout my home to give you ideas on ways that you can implement those different techniques in your space. So without further ado, let's get into today's. All right, so the first topic is pattern. I love pattern, and this is something that I have grown to really appreciate over time. Now, this is another thing I wanna stress to you guys before we get into this. Home takes time. It is not built overnight. Things take time. Curating a space costs money, love, effort, time, all of that. So I understand that looking at social media and looking at homes and having these picture perfect homes, those homes were not created overnight. So I just want you guys to give yourself grace when it comes to creating your homes, creating your different spaces. It takes time. We're gonna talk about the first aspect of creating a cozy home. And this is something that I have learned over my years here at YouTube, learning my style, fine-tuning things, and that is pattern. Before, I used to do very contrasty colors, black and white, very minimal stripe. And as I've grown here in my home and I've learned a little bit more about my style and what I like, I really enjoy a very heavily patterned home. Now, I know this is not going to be for every single person, so definitely take this information and use what you will in your own spaces. But let's start with pillows. I think pillow combinations is a great way to create coziness. Now, there's a few combinations that I'm going to tell you guys that are my kind of go-to as far as a formula goes. The first one being your stripe, your solid, and your pattern. So mixing those three different types of patterns and textures together to create a beautiful combination. The next one is going to be a stripe, a texture. So this could be possibly a boucle, this could be a fuzzy pillow, this could be a velvet pillow, having some sort of texture to then break up the different patterns within that specific combination. So you have your stripe, your texture, and then a pattern as well. When I mean pattern, this could be a houndstooth, this could be a checkered, this could be a floral. Whatever style, whatever pattern resonates with you is what I'm referring to when it comes to a specific pattern. And lastly, you can do a stripe, a checkered, and a pattern. So you're really mixing it up here and really bringing a kind of maximalist style with this. Again, this might not be for everybody, but I really enjoy getting creative with mixing patterns when it comes to my spaces. Now, some areas that you can bring pattern are your accessories. So like, for example, I have a checker print picture frame in my bedroom that I love having on display. It's kind of like that pop of pattern. You know, you have a little bit of it here and there, and you can have accessories that have that within their design and add it to your space. Another place we can add that pattern is through rugs. And I think rugs are a huge item when it comes to your space. It's going to ground the space. It's going to really set the overall mood of a room, of a design. And you can have muted rugs, so a beautiful muted pattern where it's not crazy in your face, but it just adds like a subtle bit of visual interest to your space. Or you can have something super bold, really depends on your style. But I think when you come to creating a cozy space, I would highly recommend starting with your rug first, just because it is such a big and large square footage that is taking up within a specific design. so you have your rugs as well to bring in that pattern. And then lastly, which is not going to be, again, for everybody's cup of tea, but wallpaper. We have been seeing a lot of wallpaper recently over the last, I would say maybe 2 or 3 years. Obviously wallpaper has always been around, but we are definitely seeing a lot more of it. We're seeing them on designer sites like McGee & Co, Magnolia Home, Amber Interiors. We're really embracing this style, and I honestly really love it. I do have wallpaper in my girl's bedroom. It's a very bold floral print. And another thing that I really enjoy about wallpaper is it's not permanent. Unless you're getting, you know, the actual legit wallpaper that you have to use an adhesive, there's so many peel and stick options. So you could honestly pop that wallpaper up in a specific room, add that pattern, and really make a beautiful impact in that space. So don't sleep on wallpaper. I do have a refresh happening in our girls' playroom, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. And one of the things that I'm adding to their space is wallpaper, so definitely be on the hunt when I do load that video. But another thing you can bring pattern in is through artwork. So I do have some art pieces that have like beautiful floral pattern in there, and it's just a way to just, again, add that really subtle pattern to a space. I feel like I'm gonna say pattern 4,000 times within this video, but adding that pattern in a artwork piece is another really great way to not overdo it. So if you're wanting to incorporate pattern in a minimal way, an art piece, a framed piece of artwork is a great way to start, a great like first step when it comes to incorporating that in your home. But that is the first thing on this list, is adding pattern and mixing pattern for a really cozy look. Okay, second item on this list is lighting. I think a lot of people overlook lighting and how impactful it can be for a space. Layering your lighting is incredibly important, and you can bring lighting through different elements. Obviously, we have our overhead lighting, which can be can lighting. You can bring it through your chandelier, your pendant lights. You can bring it through floor lighting, table lighting, also bring it through uplighting, which this is something I incorporated last year. I have uplighting in almost all of my rooms, and it is so fun. It is so cool. And one thing really cool about this particular uplighting that I'm gonna share with you guys, it is Philips. You control it by your phone. You can adjust the color. So if you want to adjust it for a holiday, if you guys caught my Halloween tablescape video, I had uplighting green, I had it red. It's a really cool way to add ambiance to your space, and again, that cozy factor. So I have this uplighting in my home. You can have it plugged in, or you can have it wireless, which is a really great option if you want to move it around, but I will link that down below. So this is kind of a newer thing that I've added to my home as another layer of lighting for a cozy feel. Another aspect we can add is fireplace. If you have a wood fire burning fireplace, I would have that thing on all the time. But I only have an electric fireplace. I do have mine running constantly because, again, it just adds such a cozy feeling to my home. I really do feel a difference from when it's on and when it's off. So having a fireplace going. And then lastly, another element, super simple, are your candles. If you're not one that likes an actual flame, they have so many LED candles available at this point in time. You can add these all over your home. You don't have to worry, but obviously candlelight is just so special, and it just adds and creates such a cozy element to a space. So your lighting, always talk about your lighting, always think about where your lighting is placed, having it evenly dispersed throughout rooms, having table lamps, and a variety of different shapes for really good, cozy, and curated look. So the next element on our list, which I think is the most important when we are talking about creating a cozy home, and that is texture. Now, texture can look different in many different ways, but the biggest is through your furniture pieces. And I kind of go off of 3 C's, which is curated, cozy, and collected. By bringing different materials in your furniture pieces, the more cozy, curated, and collected your space is going to appear. So for example, I have an accent chair that is made out of seagrass. I have a linen sofa. I have velvet accent chairs upstairs. I have boucle chairs within my bedroom. The more material that you can add to a space, the cozier it's going to appear. It also brings in a lot of visual interest when you are mixing different materials together. So kind of like with the patterned pillows, you're gonna have maybe one that has boucle, maybe it's a texture, it has a nubby type material. You have one that is velvet, and then you have one that is patterned. It just adds so much layer to a space, and it just makes it feel that much more cozy. Texture can also come through our textile, so kind of piggybacking off of the pillows. Obviously, you cannot go wrong with a beautiful throw blanket, bringing in that nubby material, that nubby woven or knitted type textiles. That's gonna bring so much more interest to a space. In my bedroom, I have a layered of a linen comforter, a velvet quilt, and a really beautiful woven throw blanket. So the more layer that you can add to your space through different materials, the cozier it's going to become. So think of your layers when it comes to creating a cozy space. You can also bring in that texture through baskets. Baskets are such an easy and inexpensive element to add to your space. You can bring them to a console table if you have some underneath. You can bring them to a living room to maybe house extra pillows or extra blankets. You can bring them as a way to have as a planter for maybe a tree in a space. The more texture that you can add to your space, the more visually and cozy it's going to appear. It's going to, again, add that depth that most of our spaces need. There's nothing more stale, in my opinion, when it is the same material, it is the same texture all the way across. The more visually interesting that you can make a space appear, the cozier and the better. And the last key point to texture are your stems. Stems are so important. Now, even if you are a real stem person versus a faux, adding stems to a space is going to not only bring in color, it's going to bring in your texture, it's going to add depth to a space. So you're going to have your high, low, you're going to have different variations. You can mix and match your different textures through your stems, so different colors, maybe different breeds. Honestly, stems are going to be a great way to give life to any home, to any space, and essentially creating a really cozy one. So the next bullet on this list is obviously bringing in that texture through different elements. So this next element not necessarily is a key factor when it comes to creating a cozy home, but it is an element that I wanted to talk about because I see a lot of this on Instagram and YouTube, and that is the lack of mixing your shapes when it comes to your furniture. I love mixing shapes because it not only adds visual interest, it adds depth, and again, it's going to add a little bit of cozy factor to your space. In my opinion, there's nothing more stale than seeing a space that has all of the same shape. You can see this a lot in like restoration hardware type designs where it's just like rectangle, 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 or a very squared off couch with a very squared off coffee table and a very squared off accent chair. What makes it more interesting is when you mix that up. So you maybe have a round coffee table with a squared off couch, a squared side table with round ottoman poofs. So you're getting creative in mixing those different shapes to have a really cool look when it comes to your space. So when you are designing your space, when you're trying to create a cozy home, be conscientious of the different shapes that you have within your home or in the space that you are trying to curate. And I'm telling you, it will make a heck of a difference when it comes to creating a cozy space. So the next key element on our list is mixing your shape. All right, and the very last item on our creating a cozy home list is visually interesting decor. Now, I talk about this a lot on my channel because I feel like decor is where you can really shine. This is where you really can find out about a person. The decor almost talks to you in a way to let you know what that person's into, what they like. By designing a space on things that you love and things that speak to you, it really does, without even trying, create a cozy home. Now, there's nothing more stale than walking into someone's home and it just feeling like it lacks personality. When you go into a home and it is curated with different items, maybe items that are antique, maybe they're heirloom pieces, it really does create this almost cozy-like feeling, like your home is giving you a big warm hug. And I feel like that's something that we should all strive for when it comes to creating a cozy home, curating a home, to find items that speak to you, less cookie cutter and more curated and more cozy. And so that is the last item on this list. All right, you guys, and that is it for today's video. Hopefully this short video was able to give you a little bit of insights on creating a cozy home, how we can incorporate those things. And like I said in my intro, I want you guys to know that things take time. Things are expensive nowadays, and I want you guys to not feel like you have to race out and buy stuff in order for your homes to feel cozy, feel curated. It takes time. May that be a lesson to you. I've been in my home for 6 years, and I still feel like I am slowly creating cozy spaces. I'm slowly curating my home, and it takes time. So just be patient with the process. It is not a race. But until the next video, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.